State 6 similarities found both in biblical and the traditional African. State the 6 similarities found in both biblical and traditional African views on creation. I said when you're answering a question like this, you must start in both, sindio? So in both, God's work of creation is still ongoing. In both, creation is the work of God. So when you're told similarities, you start in both. In both, God continues to provide for his creation. In both, God is the source of life. In both, creation was done in an orderly manner. In both, human beings are in charge of the creation. Or rather, you can just say they have authority over the rest of the creation. In both, human beings are center of God's creation. In both, human beings are to obey the Creator. In both, God created male and female. What I found is important when you get a question in C.R.E, you read the question and you understand, yes? You look for the key. There is one word that is key there, that is guiding you to the answers that are needed. And then you answer the question according to the way it is being asked for you. So you read the question, you'll find out that all the questions that in your C.R.E papers, you've already learned them. So you will have the answers. Your work is just to understand the question and how to answer, how it's supposed to be answered. And don't start, I told you when you get a paper, you just start what? Answering, yes? Stop overthinking it. You already have the answers in your head because you've already revised. Outline the responsibilities given to human beings by God from the biblical creation stories in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. So here you're being asked, the question is responsibilities. And these responsibilities have been given to human beings by God. So the one word that is important there is what? Responsibilities. Number one is to till the land or to cultivate the land. To be in charge of the rest of the God's creation, or to control the rest of the creation. To conserve and care for the land. To obey God's command. To procreate. Name God's creation. And also to help one another. Identify 8 ways in which people in traditional African communities take care of God's creation. So here the important word here is care. And remember, it's in the what? Traditional African communities. Providing basic needs for their families. So you'll start by providing for their families. They build shelters for domestic animals. So say build shelters. Show hospitality to visitors. You say they or by. Share resources with the needy or share with the needy. Just write share with the needy. Conserving vegetation. Observing personal hygiene. By protecting water catchment areas. And also they practice good farming methods. If you look at your prediction, there is also describing the call of Moses. We read Exodus chapter 3 verse 1 to 22. And I said you don't only read that, you read everything. That is just to guide you. You read everything. Where's Charity gone to? Yuko hapo nje? Ingia. Unajua nimeambia watu wangapi waangalie kama bado uko hapo nje. Saa zile ulikuwa umeenda wapi tena? Kwa Kamau tena. Saizi walikuita lakini ameenda class. Iliona alienda class kitambo. Ni sawa. Hope, why are you carrying your head? When the Lord saw that he turned aside to sing, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, and he said, Here am I.
Then he said, Do not come near, take off your shoes from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground.
Then the Lord said, I have seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and I have heard their cry because of their taskmasters. I know their suffering, and I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land to a good and broad land, a land flowing in the milk and honey, to the place of the
Jebusites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And now behold, the cry of the people of Israel has come to me, and I have seen the oppression which the Egyptians oppress them. Come, I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring forth my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses seized the man, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the sons of Israel out of Egypt?
He said, "Say to them, I will be with you, and it shall be that when you go out of that I have sent you, when you have brought forth the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God from this man." Then Moses said to God, "If I come to the people of Israel, and I said to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is this name? What shall I say to them?" God said to Moses, "I am who I am." And he said, "Say this to the people of Israel, I am has sent me to you." God said to Moses, "Say this to the people of Israel, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and thus I am to be remembered throughout all generations. Go and gather the elders of Israel together, and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, has appeared to you, saying, I have observed you and what has been done to you in Egypt. And I believe that I will bring you up out of affliction of Egypt, the land of Canaanite, Perizzites, and Hivites, and Jebusites, land flowing with milk and they will hearken to your voice. And tonight the elders of Israel shall go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of Hebrews, has met with us, and now we pray you, let us go a 3 days journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless combat by a mighty hand. So I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all wonders which I will do in it. After that, he will let you go. And I will bring these people the wilderness, the sight of the Egyptians. And when you go, you shall not have meat.
But each woman shall ask of a man and of her who sojourns in a house jewelry of silver and of gold and clothing, and you shall put them on your sons and on your daughters, lest it shall destroy the Egyptians.
So the call, Moses was looking after his father-in-law's what? Sheep at Mount Sinai or Mount Horeb. An angel of the Lord appeared to him in a burning what? Bush. And you have to note that the burning bush was not getting what? Consumed. Verse 3, Moses turned to see the bush. God called his name out of the bush. Verse 4, Moses responded to God saying, here I am. So God commanded Moses not to move near the burning bush, but to remove his shoes, because the place he was standing was what? Holy. Or you can just say sandals. God revealed himself to Moses as God of his what? Ancestors. That is God of Abraham, Jacob, and Moses hid his face and was afraid to look at God. You have to note that. Verse 7 to 10 is God told Moses that he had seen the suffering of his people in Egypt, and he had come to deliver them. And he wanted to send Moses to Pharaoh to release his people. Verse 11 to 12, Moses was reluctant to be sent to Pharaoh, but God promised to give him a sign. Verse 13 to 14, Moses sought the name of the God who was sending him. And the God said, I am who I am. God told Moses to go and gather the elders of Israel and tell them God's message. about their what? About their being to be deliverance. And he completely said that he was not what? A good talker. He was a stammerer. So he was given who? Yes, he was given his brother who? Aaron. So that's all about it. Question, outline 7 plagues that God used to demonstrate his power in Egypt. Number 1 is the waters of Egypt turned into what? Into blood. The land of Egypt was covered with frogs. The dust of Egypt became what? Gnats. Or you can just say flies. Swarms of flies covered the land. There was death of the Egyptian livestock. That is firstborn animals, cows and animals. There was also an outbreak of boils, and these boils were on human beings and what? Animals. There was also the plague of severe hailstorms. There was a swarm of locusts. And then darkness covered the land of Egypt. How many days? For 3 days. And then death of the firstborn males of the Egyptians. That was the last plague. Give reasons why Christians in Kenya are commanded not to steal. Because number 1, Christians should trust in God to provide for their needs. Because Christians should work to acquire their needs. Because Christians should love others. That is, they should not make others suffer. That is why they are commanded not to steal. They should uphold their dignity. So as to show respect for other people's property. In order to promote peace and harmony among the people. To practice self-righteousness, to practice righteousness or self-control. They are also commanded not to steal because Christians are expected to be contented with what they have. So I told you, if you ask what Christians, you say Christians should, or you say they should. That is how your answers should start. Question 3. I also talked about in the prediction about Canaanite religion. Identify 7 characteristics of the Canaanite religion. It was cyclic, or rather you can just say it was a nature religion. Number 2, it was polytheistic, or you can say it comprised of many gods with a small g. They had high places of worship. For example, the mountaintops, the temples, the shrines. You can say symbols or idols were made to represent each god or goddess. Images or idols were used to represent each god or goddess with a small g. They practiced temple prostitution. Or you can say temple prostitution was part of their worship. They offered human and animal sacrifices to the gods or the goddesses. Each god had his or her own god or goddess. Each god or goddess played a specific role in the community. State the challenges faced by Elijah during his prophetic ministry in Israel. Number one, it was to prove that Yahweh was the true God. Accused King Ahab of being a troublemaker. That is, he was accused by King Ahab of being a troublemaker. That was a challenge. Another challenge was to convince the people that he was a true prophet. True prophet of Yahweh, that is. He lived in fear after pronouncing the drought. So don't just say he pronounced the 3.5 year drought. You say he lived in fear after pronouncing the drought in Israel. Another challenge, he had to flee from Israel after killing the prophets of Baal. Jezebel threatened to kill him. He felt lonely. Another challenge is that true prophets of God were being killed in Israel. Or you can say the true prophets of God were being persecuted. Another challenge was he had to fight Baalism, which had been made a state religion. Give 7 ways in which Christians fight corruption in Kenya today. So keyword fight. And what are you fighting? Corruption. So you say by or they or Christians, like that. Condemning all unjust practices, or condemning all acts of corruption in the society. By praying for the corrupt people to change their behavior. Don't say just to pray. You should pray for them to change their behavior. Through advocating for the enactment. You advocate for the enactment of laws that help strengthen the fight against corruption. For the enactment of laws that can help to strengthen the fight against corruption. So that is, you advocate for those laws. You advocate so that the laws that are fighting against corruption can be what? Enacted. Also, acting as a role model for others to emulate. Making moral choices. This is by maybe using of life skills. Educating people on the evils of corruption. Exposing corrupt practices in the society. Obeying the laws of the state. Preaching the importance of integrity to the people. Importance of integrity. Report those engaged in corruption to the relevant authorities.